Hello, Dogg from Air Fans. This is Evan Benton, and I'm going to be talking to you today about garbage. And I have lived in the lower Ninth Ward of New Orleans, Louisiana for 4 years now. My wife Danny and I bought a home here in 2017, and that qualifies me to talk a little bit about garbage because everywhere you stick a shovel in, there it is. Plastic, bits of glass, bits of tile, broken bricks, broken concrete. It is a real mess in here. And of course, it's from Katrina, but it's also because this house that we're in, this lot, was, I guess, used as a dumping ground for the 5 years after Katrina, before the owner finally fixed it up again. But basically, every lot in the lower Ninth Ward is a dumping ground. It's a disgrace. Here I am, trying to do my best. We just bought another lot right next door, and we're trying to do some farming on it. And so, again, the process of digging up garbage and figuring out what to do with it continues. So the first point I just wanted to make is that contrary to what everyone is told in school, etc., everything breaks down. Everything breaks down. So even the plastic and the styrofoam, I can't tell you how many times I've gone to pick up a piece of plastic bag when I've been digging in my garden and it just crumbles to nothingness. And I just want to make that point because we're all living under this original sin of pollution, that we have to atone for in our modern materialist society. And it's all, garbage. It's a garbage idea. It's a garbage mentality. But what's interesting is people do, they do tests. So they think that they start as a plastic bag and it degrades and degrades and degrades, and the bits that I see in my yard. But then when it gets to the very tiniest little nanoparticles, it stops breaking down. And that's called microplastics, and that's in the oceans and blah, blah, blah. And think about that. Why would that happen? Why would the things that's holding the particles together at a macro scale, why would that be different from the thing that's holding the particles together at the micro scale or the nano scale? So, things eat plastic. Bacteria eats plastic, and it's just basically, it's like any other hydrocarbon. There's stuff that eats it, and it breaks down. Okay, but what's really interesting is that there's patents for production of microplastics, which they use in, you guessed it, weather modification. And I've heard about this, and just for the sake of argument, I did a little 5-minute Google search, and I found a bunch of patents for those kinds of things. So, plastic breaks down, and then on the other hand, they are making microplastics, and they're kind of like spraying them. They use them for cloud seeding is what they use them for. So they're little particles that float for a long time in the air, the atmosphere, and water coalesces on them and forms clouds. That's what they're for. And then I don't know how long they break down. There's a lot of them, so they probably just spray them all the time. Yeah. So next, I just wanted to say, it's really easy to find out where garbage comes from. Big example for me, and something I've been dealing with for 4 years now, and the thing I really wanted to make this video about is, in my front yard, I have been dealing with a rotten tarp that shows up everywhere in all the bushes and all the bark dust and everything. And you know where it comes from? It comes from my neighbor's little dog kennel, and he got rid of it finally, but it was sitting there, this shredded, rotting, this ubiquitous blue tarp, and I'd find the strands, right, because it breaks down again, and you're left with just strands, and they get smaller and smaller, but it's so gross. But we're again taught to believe that the source of pollution is us, the little people, okay? And we just don't know where it comes from, but it's just, gosh darn it, we just use too many plastic bags, and we idle our cars for too long, or we're picking up Junior from school. And I have to say that just like this tarp, it's not hard to trace, even like a smoke particle. You just look on, you look on Google Maps and you see where the little smoke trail is coming from. It's not hard. It's just the reason this doesn't get traced, and the reason we blame the little guy, we blame like random stuff is, well, obviously it's about control. We don't really want to stop the pollution. We just want to, you know, make sure it gets where we want it to get. So easy to trace. And I can even when I clean up the front, and I pick up those dead leaves and branches and things, and I take them into my compost pile. Gosh darn it, those little blue things show up in my compost pile. It's just really gross, and I hate it. But it's easy to figure out where they come from, and now that the thing is gone and been thrown away, it's less and less. So it's not like I just have these random garbage particles coming in from everywhere. It's over time you can control it. You can figure it out where it comes from, get rid of it, and you have less to deal with. So 4 years later, my yard, believe it or not, is less dirty than it was. Wow. So next then is how to get rid of garbage, because I'm trying to do the homesteading thing, and I'm trying to make use of all of my plant material, my carbon, and even just the crappy clay topsoil that I'm moving from place to place. I'm really trying my best to get that crap out of there. And so, as I said, plastic, I'm okay with it. When I see it, I get rid of it. But like, glass, tile and things like that, maybe that doesn't really break down as rapidly as, on a time scale that I can appreciate. So I'm really trying to, pick it out when I see it, before it goes into the compost heap, right? That's what you want to do. But what I've realized over time is that you go crazy doing that. And with the blue strings, I would see them and I would just go nuts. I hated to go and work in my yard because they were just everywhere. So, you realize that you're dealing with this stuff in stages, okay? And the first pass, you're not going to get it all. Then the second pass, you're going to get a little bit more. And then the third pass, you're going to get more. And then finally, you're going to put it on your friggin' vegetable garden. And you know what? If you live in the lower ninth ward, you're still going to be picking little bits of garbage out of your vegetable garden. But that's okay, because they won't kill you, okay? So that is my little Zen realization, is that I don't have to get everything. All right, I built like soil sifters. I built like 2 foot by 2 foot squares and put some mesh in them, and I was putting the stuff through and shaking them to get every little last bit out. And I still use those. I use those for like grading my compost. They're great, but it takes a long time, and it's just not really worth it. So I say I get what I can. The next time I get more, and the next time I get more. And if you do that, you'll probably find your individual tolerance for garbage. And if you're like me, you won't be able to tolerate that much. But so that means you can do stuff like that, and over time you will have less and less garbage. And the way I like to look at it is when I go out to my chicken coop and they've picked up a little piece of glass, or when I go to my garden and I pick up a little Snickers wrapper, that's been there, that's gone through that whole process, and I miss somehow. I say to myself, I'll never have to pick up that particular piece of trash again, and that makes me feel good. So that is homesteading in the lower ninth ward for you, where our native soil is rubble. And then just finally, I want to talk about how to not have garbage anymore, how to prevent it from showing up in the first place. And obviously the answer to that is you keep your space clean, and you won't have as much garbage. And that's for 2 reasons. First of all, is usually called the broken window effect or the reverse broken window effect, I guess, because when people see a broken window, they are more likely to commit crimes. This is, studies have shown this. And so when people see garbage all over the place, they throw garbage there. I mean, even like animals do this, ants do this. So you get rid of the garbage when it shows up, and you'll find that less and less of it shows up over time. And the other thing is when you keep things clean, you create fewer nooks and crannies for the garbage to get stuck in when the wind blows, right? And we have a lot of wind here in New Orleans, so I don't think that just everything that shows up in our poor little lot is hooligans, right? It just gets blown in by the wind. So, and when I see it, I pick it up. And when my wife sees it, she picks it up. And, it's getting better and better every day. And a little bit of the old Chinese metaphysics I wanted to touch on in relation to that is the idea of yin and yang. And I talked about that with my cleaning my porch, I think, where I have some pots and leaves blow into between the pots where the flowers are, and so you have to clean between the pots. That's like cleaning out that negative energy, the yin that they say attracts everything. So rather than just wind blowing it in, there's a thing called yin that attracts stuff. And yin is like female, yang is male. Yin is expansive, yang is contracting. And so garbage is yin, because it's like the Snickers bar, right? Is the yang aspect of the Snickers bars when it's coming together, when you're collecting the peanut and the caramel and the chocolate and putting them and wrapping them inside this wrapper. And then you're unwrapping it when you buy it and you're eating it and you throw the wrapper away. That's dispersing, expanding, throwing that stuff all over everywhere. And garbage is just stuff that's been thrown everywhere. And another side of yin is that it's nurturing. Okay, it's so it's nice little homes for the garbage, and that's what these little nooks and crannies are that you want to take care of. So you get rid of the little nooks and crannies, the garbage won't have a home, and it will blow on down the street. So that's just the kind of thing I think about. Is yin and yang, are they real? Obviously, they're not material, but are they real? Phenomena. Well, I think that they are at least phenomenologically real. They're experientially real, and that's what really matters in this. In all cases, really, when we're talking about them. So, if you're into that kind of stuff, let me know, and I can talk about it a little bit more. But basically, get rid of the places for the garbage to come in, and it won't come in. Wow. And that's about all I have to say about that. Just a fun little video to get you through your Dogg for Mayor week. So please leave some comments below if you thought that was interesting, and subscribe to the channel, tell your friends, and support if you can. Thanks. This has been Evan Benton for Dogg for Mayor. Have a good evening.